Join me as I set out to find and share the incredible ways God's goodness is all around us. Let's see how many I can discover in just one day. God's goodness is truly amazing, and it's something that we can experience and see all around us if we just take the time to look. From the big things to the small, God's fingerprints are everywhere, and it's time we take notice and give thanks. Life can be tough, and it's easy to get caught up in the negativity and difficulties that surround us. We can get so focused on what's going wrong that we forget to look for the good. But what if we made a conscious effort to shift our focus? What if we made a decision to intentionally seek out the ways in which God is working in our lives? It's easy to get discouraged when things aren't going our way. We can feel like we're stuck in a rut, and that God is nowhere to be found. But the truth is, God is always at work, even when we can't see it. He's always working for our good, even when things seem bleak. So how do we cultivate this mindset of gratitude and recognition? How do we start to see God's goodness in the midst of life's difficulties? It starts with a choice to trust that God is good, no matter what, and a choice to look for the ways in which He's working in our lives. There are so many examples of God's goodness that we can look to for inspiration. We can look to the acts of kindness of strangers, the beauty of nature, or the personal testimonies of those around us. We can look to the Bible, where we see story after story of God's faithfulness and love. One of the most powerful examples of God's goodness is the story of a friend of mine who was going through a tough time. She had just lost her job and was struggling to make ends meet. But in the midst of that darkness, she received an unexpected gift, a check in the mail from an anonymous donor. It was exactly what she needed, and it was a powerful reminder of God's goodness and provision. I've experienced God's goodness in my own life, too. I've seen it in the little things, like a beautiful sunset on a hard day, or a kind word from a friend when I needed it most. And I've seen it in the big things, like the way God has worked in my life to bring me to where I am today. One of the most amazing examples of God's goodness that I've ever seen is the story of a community that came together to support a family in need. The family had lost their home in a fire, and were left with nothing. But instead of giving up, the community rallied around them, providing them with shelter, food, and clothing. It was an incredible display of God's goodness and love, and a powerful reminder that we are not alone. God's goodness is overwhelming, and it's something that can leave us breathless. It's something that can bring us to our knees in awe and gratitude. And it's something that can change our lives forever. So what's the takeaway from all of this? It's simple. God's goodness is all around us, and it's time we take notice. It's time we make a conscious effort to seek out and recognize the ways in which God is working in our lives. Thanks for joining me on this journey to discover God's goodness. If you've got a story of God's goodness in your own life, I'd love to hear it. Please share it with me in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about the importance of gratitude, be sure to check out my video on the topic. Subscribe now. I'll see you in the next one.